The night is a hungry thing. It waits, it watches, it swallows the day, leaving behind only shadows and secrets. Some roads are just asphalt and paint. They take you from one place to another. But other roads are different. They have a memory. They hold on to the darkness long after the sun has risen. They remember every whisper, every tear, every scream. Tonight we travel down those forgotten highways. Leo drove through the night. The road was a long black ribbon. It stretched on forever. He was tired. He just wanted to get home. Dashboard lights glowed a soft green, his only company. Outside, the world was pitch black. A small cough from the car breaks the silence. He looks at the dashboard, no warning lights. The car coughs again, louder. Car begins to slow. He presses the gas. Nothing. The engine chokes and dies. Cold dread washes over him. Middle of nowhere, absolutely nowhere. He turns the key, clicks, nothing. He tries again, clicks, complete, absolute silence. He takes out his phone, no signal. A chill runs down his spine. He looks up, stares into oppressive darkness. Far down the road, a figure. The engine had died minutes ago, leaving Leo stranded in a cocoon of silence, broken only by the rain. He stared into the darkness beyond his headlights, and that's when he saw it. A figure by the side of the road. Leo's mind scrambled for a rational explanation, but its stillness was profoundly wrong. He did not move, an icy paralysis gripping his limbs as his heart began to hammer against his ribs, a frantic drum solo in the quiet car. The figure just stood there, impossibly still, a statue carved from pure shadow that seemed to absorb the light. A cold dread washed over him, and his hand, trembling, moved with a will of its own. Leo locked his doors. The sharp, mechanical click was a deafening crack in the oppressive silence, a futile gesture of safety against the human-shaped hole in the night. He squinted, leaning forward, trying to pierce the gloom. The figure was tall and thin to the point of emaciation, but there was no face, not even the pale suggestion of one. Then, with a horrifying slowness, it moved. It took a single, deliberate step, then another. It was walking toward him, its motion an eerie, fluid glide over the wet asphalt, its feet never quite making contact with the road. Panic flared. He reached for his phone, his fingers fumbling against the cool screen, slick with sweat. He looked up again, and the figure was closer. He could see more now. The man, it was definitely a man, wore an old-fashioned suit, dark and impeccably tailored. Strangely, it seemed utterly dry despite the downpour. His head was tilted down, his face completely hidden in an impossible shadow beneath the brim of a hat. The man didn't stop. He walked right into the center of the headlight beams, a stark black cutout against the brilliant white. Leo's hands were slick with sweat, gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles ached. He wanted to scream, to close his eyes and make it all disappear, but he couldn't look away, mesmerized by the approaching horror, a silent witness to his own unfolding nightmare. Leo couldn't breathe. That smile. He felt a primal terror grip him. With a shaking hand, he turned the key in the ignition one more time. Click, click, a roar. The engine exploded to life. He would run him over. The car was about to hit him, but there was no impact. The man was gone. The road behind him was empty. He pressed the gas pedal to the floor, leaving the terrifying spot behind. A gas station. Civilization. You all right, son? You look like you've seen a ghost. The drive home had been a long one, the late hour bleeding into the deep of the night. The endless ribbon of asphalt had become hypnotic, lulling Sam into a deep sleep. As they ventured deeper into the countryside, the road grew narrower. The cornfields rose up like dense, rustling walls on both sides, pressing in on the small car, seeming to swallow the very light from their headlamps. Jenna was driving, her focus wavering, when a violent shudder ripped through the car's frame. A shriek of tortured metal cut through the night, a sound so brutal it felt like the car was being torn apart. The engine died with a final pathetic cough. The car coasted for a few agonizing seconds, its momentum bleeding away until it rolled to a dead stop. The headlights flickered once, twice, then surrendered to the darkness. Everything went dark and silent, a profound silence that felt heavy and absolute. Jenna's heart hammered against her ribs. She fumbled for the ignition, turning the key. Nothing, not even a click. The car was a dead shell. That's when she heard it. A dry, rustling sound from the field to her right. It wasn't the gentle sigh of wind through leaves. The stalks rustled, sounding almost like whispering.
What happened?
I don't know.
The rustling grew. It didn't sound like the wind anymore. It sounded like voices, faint, sibilant, and cold. They could see the tops of the corn moving, parting, as if someone or something was walking through it. The unseen presence moved steadily closer. It was right at the edge of the road now, a shadow within shadows, just beyond the reach of the moonlight. They held their breath, waiting for whatever was in there to step out into the light. Then they saw it. A small shape detached itself from the darkness. It was a child, a little girl, her pallor almost luminous. She wore a simple, old-fashioned white dress, clean and stark against the gloom. But it was her eyes that held them captive. Dark, vacant pools that reflected nothing. Before they could speak, another figure emerged. Soon, more children stepped out of the corn, one by one. A silent procession, all with the same pale skin and hollow eyes. They formed an unblinking line, their collective gaze fixed on the car, waiting. Out of the suffocating darkness of the cornfield, they emerged. One by one, they formed a silent, unwavering line on the road. They were just children, but their stillness was profoundly wrong, their eyes like dark, empty pools. Inside the car, the air grew thick and cold. Jenna and Sam were paralyzed, not just by fear, but by a chilling understanding that the locks on their doors meant nothing. This was something ancient. One of them, a small girl, stepped forward. She raised a single pale finger, pointing it directly at the car, at Jenna and Sam. Her lips parted, and a single word drifted through the closed windows. "Play," she whispered. Then the others joined in, a sibilant, rhythmic chorus that vibrated in the car's frame. Play, play, play. It wasn't an invitation, it was a hungry, insistent command. Sam fumbled for the door lock, but it was too late. With a sickening click, the lock on his side shot up on its own. Suddenly, the passenger door was wrenched open with impossible force. He screamed. He was being pulled out. Small, cold hands, caked with dirt and impossibly strong, clamped onto his leg. He kicked and fought, but they were a tide of silent, determined force dragging him from the car. "No!" Jenna screamed, a helpless spectator. They dragged Sam toward the dark cornfield, their bare feet making no sound on the asphalt. The whispering stopped, replaced only by Sam's muffled cries as he disappeared. They found her at dawn, sitting in the silent car, the passenger door hanging open. She is in a hospital now, a sterile white room that offers no comfort. She doesn't speak. She just stares at the walls. The authorities say she's in shock, but Jenna knows the truth. She can still hear them when the room is quiet. Faint whispers, forever inviting her to come out and play. The old pickup truck rattled down a deserted desert highway. Mark was behind the wheel. His only companion was the old radio on his dashboard. The truck sputtered. The lights flickered. The radio went silent. The truck coasted to a stop in the middle of the empty highway. He checked the battery. He checked the wires. Everything seemed fine. Nothing. He sat on the hood of his truck and looked up at the stars. Then, he heard it. Music. It was the same song that had been playing on his radio before the truck died. A light, far off in the distance. It looked like the lights of a building. Maybe a diner? He would walk toward the light. The ghostly music seemed to get louder with every step he took. Then he saw it. A light. A warm glow. It was a single light, and it was moving. Someone was holding it. The music was everywhere. It seemed to come from that direction. The swinging light was an invitation. Come closer, it seemed to say. He felt a strange sense of calm. The fear he had felt earlier was gone. The light flickered. It went out. Then it came back on. Brighter this time. He could no longer see his truck. It had been swallowed by the darkness. Someone was waiting for him out there in the dark. The sad voice calling to him, "Come and see." What happened to Mark? He kept walking. He never returned. They found his truck a week later. The engine was fine. It started on the first try. His footprints led away from the truck and then disappeared into the sand, as if he had simply vanished into thin air. His ghost now waits with the smiling man, a new horror born from metal and fear. The next time you are driving alone at night and your car begins to fail, remember these stories. Listen to the silence, look into the darkness, and pray that you are truly alone.